The sun warmed the sand beneath me as I dug my hands deep into its cool embrace. It was a perfect summer day at the beach, the waves gently lapping at the shore. I was lost in my world of castles and moats, building my sandy kingdom with the precision only a child's imagination could muster. Suddenly, a shadow fell over me, blocking the sunlight. Startled, I looked up to see a woman standing there, her expression unreadable. She crouched down and reached out towards me, her hand outstretched as if to grab mine. "Come with me, sweetie," she said, in a voice that sent shivers down my spine. Confusion and fear gripped me instantly. I jerked back, scrambling away from her grasp. "No!" I screamed, my voice cracking with terror. "Mom!" I could hear my own heartbeat thundering in my ears as I looked desperately towards the water where my mother had been watching from a short distance away. Panic surged through me as I realized she couldn't hear me over the sound of the waves. The woman recoiled, her eyes darting nervously between us. "Oh, I thought she was lost," she stammered, her words coming out in a rush. "I was just trying to help." "Thank you, but she's fine," my mom said firmly, her tone leaving no room for argument. The woman hesitated for a moment longer before retreating, casting furtive glances over her shoulder as she walked away. I clung to my mum, shaking with a mix of relief and lingering fear. The beach suddenly felt less like a playground and more like a place where danger could unexpectedly lurk. As we watched the woman disappear into the crowd, I couldn't help but wonder what her true intentions had been. I sat on the couch, absently tracing patterns on the cushion with my finger, while my parents spoke in hushed tones nearby. Their voices were serious, the weight of the afternoon's events palpable in the air. "I don't like the way she approached her," my mum said, her voice tinged with concern. "It just felt off." My dad nodded solemnly, his brow furrowed in deep thought. "I agree. It's better to be safe than sorry. I think we should talk to the lifeguard tomorrow." Unease settled in the pit of my stomach, a knot of worry tightening with each passing moment. Their words confirmed my own instincts, that something wasn't right about the woman on the beach. The way she had tried to take me away, the hurried excuses when confronted, it all added up to a feeling of unease that lingered like a shadow. "Why would she lie about wanting to help?" I asked quietly, more to myself than anyone else. The answer eluded me, leaving only a sense of vulnerability in its wake. My dad sighed heavily, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We don't know, sweetheart," he said gently, "but we're going to make sure nothing like that happens again." As my parents continued their discussion, I found myself lost in my own thoughts, imagining scenarios where the woman might return, or where her intentions might have been more sinister than we realized. The hours stretched on, each passing minute marking a silent countdown until we could take action the next day. The next day dawned with a bright, cloudless sky, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside me. Despite my trepidation, we returned to the beach, the familiar scent of salt water mingling with sunscreen in the air. I kept close to my parents, my eyes scanning the shoreline for any sign of the woman from yesterday. It didn't take long for my gaze to settle on them, a couple sitting under a striped umbrella not far from where we had been the day before. They seemed ordinary enough, chatting and laughing with each other as they watched the waves roll in. But beneath their casual demeanor, my fear and suspicion flared anew. I watched as they interacted with other children nearby, offering friendly smiles and small gestures that seemed harmless on the surface. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to their presence than met the eye. With a trembling voice, I tugged on my mum's sleeve, drawing her attention to the couple. "Mum," I whispered, my throat tight with apprehension. "They're here again." Her eyes followed my gaze, her expression hardening as she observed them discreetly. "Stay close," she murmured, her voice a mixture of caution and determination. "Let's keep an eye on them." We stayed at a distance, pretending to be engrossed in building sandcastles while keeping a vigilant watch. Every move they made was scrutinized, every interaction analyzed for any hint of suspicious behavior. "They're talking to those kids," my dad observed quietly, his voice betraying a hint of concern. "We need to stay alert." Nodding in agreement, my mum reached for her phone, preparing to discreetly inform the lifeguard. The urgency in her movements mirrored my own growing unease, a shared understanding that our instincts couldn't be ignored. As we waited for the lifeguard's response, I couldn't help but wonder what the couple's intentions were. Were they merely enjoying a day at the beach? Or was there something more sinister behind their friendly facade? The uncertainty gnawed at me, leaving me torn between fear and a desperate need for answers. Later that week, the beach was alive with laughter and music, the atmosphere festive with a beach party in full swing. I had reluctantly agreed to join in, hoping the cheerful surroundings would distract me from the lingering unease that had settled like a shadow since our last encounter with the couple. The couple was approaching, their smiles unnervingly wide as they weaved through the crowd towards me. Panic surged within me, my heart pounding in my chest as I searched for an escape route. But before I could slip away, they were standing before me, their presence looming over me like a dark cloud. "Hello there," the woman chirped, her voice sickly sweet, sending a shiver down my spine. I took a step back, my gaze darting frantically around for my parents. Hi," I managed to mumble, my voice betraying my discomfort. They continued to talk, their words like a web closing in around me, trapping me in their unsettling attention. Every instinct screamed at me to flee, to find safety in the crowd, but their relentless approach made it impossible to ignore. Just as their persistence threatened to overwhelm me, a strong hand settled on my shoulder, pulling me gently but firmly away from them. "That's enough." My dad's voice cut through the tension, his tone sharp and commanding. The couple's smiles faltered, their demeanor shifting from friendly to defensive in an instant. "We were just trying to be friendly," the man protested weakly, his eyes flickering nervously between us. But my parents weren't buying it this time. "We've seen enough," my mum replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil brewing beneath the surface. As we watched them go, I couldn't help but wonder what they had wanted from me, why they had singled me out among all the children at the party. The unanswered questions hung heavy in the air, a reminder that danger could lurk in the most unexpected places. "We need to talk," my dad began, his voice grave with concern as he exchanged a worried glance with my mum. "About what happened?" I nodded silently, my stomach twisting with anxiety. The seriousness in their expressions mirrored the gravity of the situation, and I knew this conversation wouldn't be easy. "We've been discussing this with the police," my mom continued, her voice gentle yet firm, "and we need to make some changes to keep you safe." Their words sent a chill down my spine, the realization sinking in that the encounter with the couple had been more than just a passing scare. It was a warning, a stark reminder of the dangers that could lurk in seemingly innocent places. "We're going to have to restrict your beach visits," my dad explained reluctantly, his tone apologetic as he met my gaze. "At least, until we're sure it's safe." The words hit me like a punch to the gut, a sharp pang of disappointment mingling with the fear that gripped my heart. The beach had always been a place of joy and freedom, a sanctuary where laughter and the sound of crashing waves had washed away any worries. But now it was tainted with uncertainty, a place where danger had lurked beneath the surface. I struggled to hold back tears, the unfairness of it all threatening to overwhelm me. "I'm sorry," my mum said softly, her voice filled with empathy as she reached out to comfort me. "But your safety comes first." With a shaky breath, I nodded, accepting the reality of our new normal. The beach, once a haven of childhood adventures, now stood as a reminder of the risks we faced. As the evening wore on, we discussed safety measures and strategies to stay vigilant. The police had been notified of the suspicious behavior, their presence a reassurance that steps were being taken to protect us. But despite their efforts, the shadow of fear lingered, casting a pall over our once carefree existence. I knew that from now on, nothing would be the same. Not our trips to the beach, not the innocence of childhood, and certainly not the sense of security we had taken for granted. As I curled up on the couch, the weight of their words settling around me like a heavy blanket, I prayed that one day we would reclaim the peace that had been shattered by the events at the beach. Days turned into a blur of heightened vigilance and lingering fear. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat, every unfamiliar face a potential danger. The events at the beach had cast a long shadow over our lives, transforming our once peaceful existence into a constant battle against paranoia and uncertainty. At home, my parents and I lived on edge, jumping at every sound outside our windows, every unfamiliar car that passed by. The couple had left an indelible mark on our sense of security, their presence felt even in their absence. "We have to be careful," my dad would say, his voice tinged with a mixture of determination and fear as he checked the locks for the umpteenth time that night. They could be watching. Outside, the police had stepped up patrols in the area, their presence a comforting yet sobering reminder of the seriousness of the situation. I watched from behind curtains as their cars cruised past our house, their watchful eyes scanning the streets for any sign of suspicious activity. "We're doing everything we can," my mom assured me, her voice soft yet resolute as she hugged me close. "But we have to stay vigilant." One afternoon, as I sat in my room, the sound of voices outside drew me to the window. Peering through the blinds, I caught sight of the couple, their presence sending a chill down my spine. They lingered on the sidewalk, their movements furtive and suspicious, as if aware of the eyes that watched them. I reached for my phone, fingers trembling as I dialed my dad's number. "They're here," I whispered urgently, my voice barely above a hoarse whisper. Minutes later, the police arrived, their arrival a flurry of activity as they discreetly observed the couple from a distance. Surveillance footage captured their every move, each frame a damning testament to their suspicious activities. As I watched from the safety of my room, a mixture of relief and dread washed over me. The couple's presence had been confirmed, their intentions still shrouded in mystery. But with each passing moment, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, revealing a chilling truth that threatened to unravel our fragile sense of security. The tension in our home reached a breaking point as we gathered for a police briefing. The living room, once a sanctuary of family comfort, now felt like a war room, every surface littered with maps and documents detailing the investigation. "We have some news," the lead detective began, his voice solemn as he glanced around at our anxious faces. "About the couple." Relief washed over me at the prospect of finally uncovering the truth, tempered by the lingering fear of what we might discover. My parents sat beside me, their expressions a mirror of my own mixed emotions, hope and dread intertwined in a silent prayer for resolution. The detective continued, his words measured as he revealed the shocking discoveries made during their investigation. "They have a criminal history," he explained, his voice grave with the weight of the revelation. "Several incidents of similar behavior in other areas." My heart sank at the confirmation of our worst fears. The couple, whose friendly facade had masked a sinister agenda, had a history of preying on unsuspecting victims. The realization sent a chill down my spine, a stark reminder of the dangers we had narrowly escaped. "We believe they're involved in more than just suspicious behavior," the detective continued, his tone turning resolute as he outlined plans to apprehend them. "We're coordinating with other agencies to bring them in." Plans were made, strategies discussed in hushed tones that echoed off the walls of our once peaceful home. The police assured us of their commitment to our safety, their presence a reassuring beacon amid the storm of uncertainty. As the briefing drew to a close, I felt a mixture of gratitude and lingering unease. The couple's capture seemed imminent, their reign of terror poised to come to an end. Yet the scars left by their presence would linger, a constant reminder of the fragility of our sense of security. "We'll keep you informed," the detective promised, his words a lifeline in the darkness that had clouded our lives. "And we won't rest until they're brought to justice." With a nod of thanks, we watched as the detectives gathered their files and left, their footsteps echoing down the hallway as they disappeared into the night. The weight of their words hung in the air, a promise of closure and a chance to reclaim the peace that had been shattered by the couple's presence. But as I turned to my parents, their weary smiles mirrored my own sense of relief, mingled with the unspoken understanding that our lives would never be the same. The journey towards justice had begun, but the scars left behind would serve as a reminder of the dangers that had threatened to consume us. The atmosphere at the beach was tense as we ventured out for a much-needed outing, the specter of recent events lingering in every whisper of the wind and every crashing wave. Despite our best efforts to enjoy a moment of respite, a cloud of unease hung over us like a storm on the horizon. As I played near the water's edge, laughter and carefree shouts echoed around me, a stark contrast to the apprehension that gnawed at my insides. The sun beat down relentlessly, casting harsh shadows that seemed to stretch and twist with every passing moment. And then, as if conjured by our collective fears, they appeared, a fleeting glimpse of familiarity that sent my heart racing in terror. The couple stood on the fringes of the beach, their presence a chilling reminder of the darkness we had fought so hard to escape. Panic! I wanted to scream as fear gripped me, rooted in place as I watched them try to flee. The courtroom was a solemn arena of justice, its walls echoing with the weight of our collective ordeal. We sat in tense anticipation, a sea of faces both familiar and unfamiliar, bound together by a shared quest for closure and justice. As the trial began, testimonies were given, a tapestry of voices recounting the horrors inflicted by the couple whose presence had haunted our lives. Each word was a dagger of truth, piercing through the veil of denial that had shielded us from the harsh reality of their crimes. I watched as witnesses took the stand, their voices steady yet laced with emotion as they detailed their encounters with the couple. Their stories painted a vivid portrait of manipulation and deceit, revealing the depths of depravity hidden beneath smiles and friendly gestures. Emotions ran high as the prosecutor presented evidence, a damning collection of facts that laid bare the couple's criminal history. Past crimes were exposed in chilling detail, each revelation a testament to the terror they had wrought upon unsuspecting victims. The courtroom held its breath as the defense mounted a feeble attempt to cast doubt upon the overwhelming evidence. But their arguments faltered against the weight of truth, their efforts to deflect responsibility crumbling under the weight of justice. And then, finally, came the moment we had all been waiting for, the judge's verdict, guilty on all counts. The words echoed through the courtroom, a bittersweet symphony of vindication and closure. They were sentenced to long prison terms, their fate sealed by the gavel's final blow. As they were led away in handcuffs, their faces etched with defeat, I felt a surge of relief wash over me, a cathartic release after months of fear and uncertainty. But amid the victory, a sobering truth remained, that our lives had been forever changed by the darkness that had crept into our world. As we left the courtroom that day, I carried with me a newfound resilience, a silent vow to never let the shadows of the past dim the light of our future. In the quiet confines of our home, we gathered, a family forever changed by the harrowing ordeal that had tested our strength and resilience. The echoes of the trial still lingered in the air, a haunting reminder of the darkness we had faced and overcome together. As we sat together, the weight of recent events hung heavy upon us, a silent testament to the scars left by the couple's reign of terror. The room was bathed in a soft, comforting glow, a stark contrast to the turbulent emotions that churned within us. "We made it through," my mum said softly, her voice filled with a mixture of exhaustion and relief as she clasped my hand in hers. "But it's not over yet." Her words resonated deeply, a poignant reminder that closure did not erase the trauma we had endured. Mixed feelings of triumph and lingering fear intertwined within me, a complex tapestry of emotions that defied simple resolution. "We need to talk about what happened," my dad added, his tone gentle yet resolute as he met my gaze, "and we need to seek help." Support and counseling became our lifeline, a bridge between the past and a tentative future, where healing could begin to take root. Together, we navigated the turbulent waters of trauma, leaning on each other for strength and understanding. In the days that followed, we embarked upon a slow and arduous journey towards recovery. Each step was marked by small victories and setbacks, as we learned to rebuild our shattered sense of security and trust. But amidst the pain, there were moments of resilience and growth, a shared laughter over a meal, a comforting embrace in the face of lingering nightmares. Together, we forged bonds strengthened by adversity, a testament to the unwavering power of love and family. As we looked towards the horizon, I knew that scars would fade with time, replaced by the quiet strength that had carried us through the darkest of days. The road ahead was uncertain, marked by both challenges and hope, but we faced it together, a family forever bound by the trials that had tested our resolve and ultimately strengthened our spirit.